Winter is settling here in the foothills of the Dolomites, and we have found ourselves in what might just be the most beautiful park hub we've ever stayed at. Thick clouds of mist are clinging to the forested mountain ridges this morning, putting a hushed silence over the valley, broken only by the gentle rushing of the river. Although the bitter cold of winter is slowly creeping in, this place is everything we've wanted and more. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jessica, and I live in my camper van Bilbo full-time with my adventure puppy Heidi and my partner Risi. A month ago, we left the UK for a 6-month road trip around Europe, travelling in the slow lane and exploring beautiful places on the way to reconnect with nature and grow roots in the wild. We've settled in this quiet valley for the week, which is completely desolate with no people in sight. And it's also just about warm enough to have the doors open in the morning. So we're making the most of it before the cold temperatures force us to be a little more indoorsy for the winter. It was the most peaceful and serene of mornings, but like most good things, it didn't last forever. So a couple of hours ago, our heating stopped working out of nowhere. And just now we went down to the river to wash, and when we came back our van stopped locking.
Yeah, the alarm still goes off, but the latches do not come down.
Which is, I guess it's fine because we're in the middle of nowhere and like no one's gonna break into the van here, there's literally no people. But it does mean that we can't both leave the van, which is annoying, and obviously we need heating here in the mountains. It's forecast to be -7 degrees tonight. We did email a few people locally about it, some camper van places, and no one's really willing to look at it because it's not, we don't have one of those expensive branded heaters. So we don't really know what to do. We're kind of stuck here until we figure out how we're gonna fix our van. So I guess we're just gonna have to layer up and pile on all the blankets and cuddle up with Heidi tonight. But yeah, we'll stay here for now and we'll just have a chilly night and then we'll figure it out tomorrow.
She was in top condition. She had a new heavy weather stay set made by a local union bird sailor.
How are you feeling?
That was so cold. That was terrible. I was wearing like 4 layers and I was still cold like all night.
Yeah, I think of myself as being fairly hardy to the cold. Like when I've been camping, I've slept without a tent on the floor in like below freezing.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But it seems to make such a big difference. Like I think it was -1 when I did that, and it was -7 last night.
That is quite a difference.
It's only 6 degrees. Like I don't think of 6 degrees as being that big of a difference, but it clearly was. I was cold.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. I think we just need to leave. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I think we're so cold that we can't think clearly. So I think the best thing to do is to just leave and drive south until we're warm enough to figure out what we're gonna do.
Until we thaw out.
Until we thaw out, yeah. As you can probably tell from my ridiculous outfit, I'm wearing about 10 layers. It is absolutely freezing in here. When we woke up, it was 2 degrees above zero, and now it's about 5. Heidi's water was frozen this morning, so we're just getting the van ready to drive, and we'll be heading to southern Italy to get the ferry to Greece from there, once we've repaired our latches and heater. In this moment, we had no plan whatsoever. We just knew that we had to drive as far south as possible today until we reached a place where it was a somewhat more humane temperature. If I'm completely honest with you guys, weeks like this one are not the norm for us at all. You hear about van life going wrong all the time, but for us, 90% of the time, Bilbo has served us really well. So while we were very uncomfortable and a bit sad to be leaving the Dolomites, we were also kind of okay with it.
Are you ready for driving? Oh, you little cutie.
If there's one thing van life teaches you, it's to be adaptable and not get too attached to your plans. So within 15 minutes, we were leaving this beautiful place. On our way out of the Dolomites, we stopped at one of the many free water taps in the area to fill up, which we do about once a week. It's always interesting traveling to an area we've never been to because access to basic things like water and public bins can vary a lot. So we just try to be as prepared as possible. We spent a long time driving that day, but honestly, we didn't mind it too much. We always listen to our audiobook while we're driving, so we spend a solid 10 hours escaping to distant worlds and watching the landscape change, while the sun was warming our faces through the windscreen.
The sun, Heidi? Is it nice? Is it nice and warm?
So we have now arrived in Gargano National Park in Italy, which is not quite the heel of Italy, but that kind of sticky outy bit.
Yeah, it's like 2/3 of the way down, I guess. It's like a little knob that sticks out on the sort of calf.
I think it has a name, but I don't know what the name is.
I mean, it's a bit like a peninsula, but it's not quite as peninsulary.
But yeah, we basically looked at the map of Italy and this area had nice coastline, it looked sunny and dry. It also has a nice forest in the middle of the national park where we're going to go after this. So it looks like a really nice place to spend some time.
And there's quite a lot of park ups as well.
Yeah, it's quite easy to park here. It's very, very quiet, so I think we'll be fine here. We kind of fancy just staying somewhere for a week. Which we do when there's like literally no people and no one notices us, but we'll just see what the vibe is.
It seems quite quiet. There's not very many people here.
It's also really nice and warm here. It's like 17 degrees. I'm wearing my kind of mid-sleeve dress and I'm almost a little bit too warm.
I'm a bit toasty actually. The jumper probably needs to come off.
Yeah, it's such a difference to what we had before.
Wearing like 10 layers.
Yeah, and it was like -7 degrees. It's really lovely here. And yeah, hoping to spend some time here and just recover from being so cold in the last few days. The mountains feel almost untouched in the stillness of the morning, and the air is thick with the scent of rosemary and thyme bushes, which are sprawling across the landscape. It's quiet here, save for the singing of the birds and the wind rustling through the trees. There's a timelessness to this valley, as if it has patiently waited through centuries for moments like this. where nothing needs to be done but simply exist and breathe it all in. It's the kind of place where you're reminded that life can actually be this simple and nature is carrying on as it always has. These are just two of many bushes. There's another 50, 100 over there. It's an enormous amount of rosemary. It doesn't happen very often, but I really love it when you come across a wild food that's so abundant you can just take whatever your heart desires, and you know there will still be enough for wildlife and other people, especially other people, because no one lives here. I've come across 5 farmers maybe, but yeah, people don't seem to mind us being here, which is nice. We've been parked in the same spot for about 4 days now, and it's been really lovely to recharge after the last place, which was so bitterly cold. So I think we're gonna stay here for another day and then start slowly making our way around the island and explore. Oh, it smells absolutely heavenly. And I can actually see Bilbo in the distance there. So I don't talk about this online much because I don't want to put myself under too much pressure, but I've actually started training for an ultramarathon, not necessarily because I want to do a race, but so I can explore the place we visit better and be a better forager, which sounds ridiculous. But yeah, basically I go running about 3 times a week, increasingly longer distances, and every few hundred meters, whenever I see a new plant that I don't know, I will stop, identify it on my phone and make a mental note of the spot so I can come back later. And for me, it's such a beautiful way to be connected not just to one place, but an entire continent, because we travel across Europe, and it brings me a lot of joy to see what grows in different places. And I get excited like a little child whenever I see a new edible fruit or herb that doesn't grow in Central or Northern Europe, where I grew up and lived until a year ago. These lands are steeped in ancient mythology, and I learned that the name Gargano is said to come from Gargan, the son of the Celtic sun god Bilinos. It always feels so unlikely and fascinating to find an area with such deep pagan roots here in the south of Europe, where the forests and mountains were once thought to hold sacred, mystical powers, long before the arrival of Christianity. The days started blending into each other in this place, and we actually ended up staying here for a week until we felt thoroughly rested, and we decided to explore more of the national park and then hide away in the woods for Christmas. If you enjoyed this video, do subscribe for more van life adventures, how we live more sustainably on the road, and the folklore we learn about on our travels. Until then, take care and have a lovely week ahead. Bye!